The whole point of me becoming a billionaire is to show other people that they can do it too. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're in beautiful Ontario, California, about what, 45, 50 minutes from LA, Liberty?
Yeah.
We're here with Liberty, and she's staying out here in Ontario. I met this young lady a few days ago, and she wanted to tell her life story. All right, Liberty, if you don't mind, can we just take it back to the beginning? Where were you born?
Was I born? I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Erie, Pennsylvania? What's Erie, Pennsylvania famous
Erie.
for? Erie, what is it famous for?
Yeah,
I know, I've heard of it before.
It's we call it the mistake on the lake because it's one of the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Erie, Lake Erie. Yeah.
The mistake on the lake. Why do they say that?
Not everybody calls it that, but I do. So that's why I'm here in California because I love Cali.
Yeah.
I love California.
You do? What do you like about California besides the weather?
The people.
I'm gonna go back to Erie, Pennsylvania, but why Ontario? Just curious.
Okay, well, long story short, I was actually living, before I came here, I was living in an RV and I was paying somebody like a van lord. I was paying this van lord like $400 a month or something like that. And I had no water, no electricity, and I had no Wi-Fi, nothing. Like I was fighting my, trying to film for my YouTube channel every day, I was putting my products in my Shopify store, and I was just trying to get my business going and everything. But I got hit by a truck in 2022, and I was filming in the hospital. I almost died because I got hit by a truck in the head while I was running. And just beyond that, like it was just very unsafe. People were protesting against us. We were having to move, well, not we, I should say me. I was the only one living there. I was paying the rent, and I was having to move constantly. Because they would try to threaten to tow me and everything like that. I say us because it wasn't my RV, but it was very unsafe. And before I came here, I was seeing like heroin needles, and there was like the partying kept getting worse and worse and worse. I was living up there in Burbank, right by the Warner Brothers Studios, and it was just very unsafe. And I felt like God was calling me to go up higher. And I said, I plan on being a billionaire. I know people don't like that when I say I want to be a billionaire. It's not that I want it. It's that God wants me to do it. And when I came out here, I had a little bit of money left over from the settlement from the car accident. And I paid for like the hotels, nice hotels like the Hilton and stuff like that. And I planned on getting a place out in Rancho that maybe like to rent a room or something like that, like Airbnb. But that didn't work out, so I need to, for myself, I've been abused as a child, physically and verbally and stuff like that, emotionally. So I need to feel safe with the people that I'm going to stay with, regardless of the price. You know what I mean? And so I prefer to be alone because I prefer to just, work on my business and just be alone and just pray with God and just think to myself and do, you know what I mean? And just take care of my self-care and stuff rather than to be around people that I just don't feel safe with. Okay. So I came out here just to try to go up higher. And things haven't worked out financially yet, but I know that they will because I just work on it every day.
This area's not that bad. They're building this train that's going to go from here to Vegas in a couple of years. Yeah, like a 2 hour.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're building right here.
Okay.
There's going to be 10,000 jobs here in this area.
Oh, okay.
So you're only 50 miles from LA. The weather's perfect all year. I know it's raining. This rarely happens, though. It's usually not raining.
But this is January 20th. I mean, you should see what they're going through in Pennsylvania right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to be here, Raman. I just love California, and I love the people, and the most important thing that you need is the people. The weather's great as far as being in wintertime. I'm not going to complain that it's raining and stuff, and it's kind of cold, but it's way better than being in Pennsylvania because I got a great group of people. Everywhere I go, everybody knows me. Like Cheers, everybody knows your name, I know them, they know me, and that's what you need. You need good people around you.
Hey, by the way, I got that joke. When you said a van lord, that's pretty funny.
That's what they call them. I didn't make it up. I was actually in the news on BBC, did an article on me. They did a radio show on me on BBC, New York Post, LA Times.
Yeah, we're going to come back to all your social media stuff, but I wanted to go back to your childhood. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to East High Warriors.
Did you graduate?
Yeah. Yes, I did. I graduated in 1997.
All right. You remember a teacher that influenced you?
Let me tell you, there's this one teacher, and I believe he's dead now because I cannot find him, and somebody said he's dead. His name is Mr. Miller. And he was this old, chubby, bald guy, you know. And he used to always make a joke because he was my English teacher. And he used to always make this joke like, you know, in tennis, love is nothing, you know, just like with my wife, you know. and then but one time there was these guys and they were harassing me. They said they were gonna rape me, and my teacher, his face got all red, and he was so mad, like he was about to have a heart attack. And he looked at him, he says, "You leave her alone. You feeling froggy? You go ahead and leave." And he was so good. Like after school, we would smoke cigarettes together and stuff. And during breaks, and like I would skip school, and we would just sit there and smoke cigarettes while he was on his break and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was just a good dude. He was like a grandpa to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I had many teachers like that. I had a teacher in 2nd grade, Mrs. Bucci. She's like 84 years old, and I still talk to her on Facebook sometimes.
You do?
When I go to Pennsylvania, I go see my family, and I see her sometimes. And I saw her on Christmas the last time I went there. Her name is Mrs. Bucci. She's 82 from 2nd grade, and we still talk.
Shout out to Ms. Bucci. Hey,
Yeah,
you know,
Bucci.
I had another guest from Pennsylvania. Do you?
Oh, really?
You ever heard of possum whopping?
No. What's that?
Yeah, I guess
Is that a
these
town?
evil kids go out and they turn on a flashlight and it freezes the possums and they beat him with bats and stuff.
Aww.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's so mean.
Yeah, she was from Pennsylvania. I think no, maybe not Erie, somewhere else.
That's terrible.
Oh, terrible. I love animals. You love animals?
Oh, yeah. That's cruel.
What's your favorite animal?
Dogs.
Yeah, what's your favorite dog?
I don't have a certain kind of dog, but I love my dog, Smo. I call him my boyfriend because he likes to nibble on my ear.
Hey, Liberty, so when you're growing up out there, was there any abuse in the home growing up? There was.
Yeah. You know, the way I look at it, Ramen, is that we can only give what we have, you know? So, my parents at the time, they just did the best that they could do with what they were taught and what they were given from their parents. And so my mom was abused physically and verbally by her father, and her mother was amazing. Like, I can't say enough about my grandma. If it wasn't for her, I'd be dead. I tried to commit suicide. I overdosed on drugs. My grandmother came to the hospital and prayed with me, and that's why I gave my life to Christ, because of my grandma and the way she was so good to me, not judging me when I was on drugs and all that stuff. And, you know, but as far as my grandpa, you know, my mom was very verbally and physically abusive towards me. And I want nothing more than for my mom to heal. And that's why I don't care, like, all the stuff that I'm going through right now. It's nothing compared to what my family's going through in their minds and their spirits.
So, Liberty, I'm sorry about that, but I'm glad that you're forgiving her. And you told me earlier that you talked to her, or you're trying to talk to her. Was there any other kinds of abuse growing up?
Yeah, when I was a kid, my mom married my dad. I call him Dad because I love him. And I didn't know for the longest time that he was not my biological father, but she married him when I was like a baby and stuff. And for the longest time, he molested me, but I didn't know like what that was, you know? I just kind of thought that that's just how dads do, you know? But I didn't like it, you know? And I come to find out I have PTSD because I kind of just kept forgetting about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would just put it in the back of my mind and just forget like it happened. And then my parents were always fighting and stuff like that because my dad was an alcoholic and stuff, and a lot was going on with cheating and all that kind of thing with them. And so they were always fighting about money also. And so eventually they would end up fighting over us kids because he had one of his own and she had me, and then they had one together. So they were always fighting over us kids, and they're just fighting like about everything, you know. So they finally got divorced, and my mom told us one day that you know, he's leaving, he left, and he's not coming back and everything. But we had to go visit him, and on Labor Day, right before I started high school, he me, and he drugged me first, and then he me, and it made high school like a living hell, because it was in the newspaper, and you know, people found out about it, even though it didn't say my name. They knew that I was his stepdaughter. Like, that's why I skipped school a lot, because so many people were picking on me because they don't know what is. The kids don't know, and I didn't know that at the time. I just thought that these kids were evil, picking on me, bullying me about me getting raped, and your dad did this to you, and da 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 whatever. and it was hell. And so I didn't feel like I was smart or anything. I felt like I was very, very stupid. Even though up until that point I was getting like all A's at school, I was like one of the smartest kids. I was in advanced classes and all that. But in high school it was hell, and I barely graduated. But I did have a recruiter come in from the Army, spent a lot of time with me. So I decided, like, okay, I'm not smart enough to go to college and get a scholarship or whatever. My mom said she's not paying for it, so I'm just going to go to the Army, and I'm going to get the Army to pay for my college, you know? And I said, I'll either that or maybe I'll make a career out of the Army, you know? So I did go to the Army after I went to, I got a higher ranking in the Army because I did go through, like, my last 2 years of high school. I went to ROTC. But I did get out of the Army early because I did have PTSD, and they didn't really know how to deal with me, you know what I mean? So when I came back home, my dad was getting out of prison for that, and he moved back in with my mom, and they got back together.
Wow.
And
First of all, I'm really sorry all this happened to you. It made you who you are, but were you ever in the system growing up? Foster care?
no, I was never in foster care, but I was in the mental health system, like, ever since I was about, like, 12 or 13. I was in the mental health system.
And this was all because of what your father did to you. What's your message to your father if he's watching this?
I saw him at my grandma's funeral. I love my dad. I even tried to call him on Father's Day. I asked my mom for his number, and you're talking about the dad that raped me and everything. Yeah, I love him. I love my dad. Because, you know what? If it wasn't for what he did to me, I wouldn't be able to help other people. I look at it this way. That's part of my resume. I plan on changing this world, you know.
So, Liberty, you went through some time where you were using drugs, but you successfully got over it. How did you do it?
All I can say is that it was God, you know. I mean, because I just had enough. I was so overweight. Like, I was 250 pounds bigger than I am right now. And I looked at myself and was like, that's not me, you know what I mean? And I had a picture of myself when I was in the Army. And I was looking really, really good, you know? And I was like, that's me. And I want to be like, who is this girl in the mirror? That's not me, right? So I was with this guy, and because of the way that I was raised and the way, you know, being physically abused, verbally abused, sexually abused, you know, that's what I thought love was abuse, you know? So, but I was with this guy, and I was with him for like about 7 years at that time, and he was hitting me, he verbally putting me down, and this is where I just started going to church and everything, and I was having sex with this guy, but I knew that I should not be having sex with him, but I felt in my heart that I loved him. But I looked at this ring on my finger, okay, and it was a $25 Walmart ring where he said he was going to marry me. But you know what? I looked at this and I said, you know what? I don't even love this guy. I don't even like him. How could I love him? I don't love him, okay? And I said, this is not the guy that I want. So what do I want out of a man, right? What kind of a man do I want? And I said, you know something? I wrote a list of things that I wanted. I wanted a man who's educated. I wanted a man who doesn't smoke, a man who doesn't drink, a man who doesn't use drugs, a man who has a career, right? Well, you know something? I didn't have those attributes. I didn't have those qualities. And that made me very upset. So I decided that I'm going to become the woman that kind of man would want. So I had to get rid of him. And in order to do that, I had to quit drugs. And I had the support of my grandmother. And that's about all the support I had. But she wasn't the one. Nobody could make me quit. I prayed to God one night, and I kept praying, God, forgive me, I'm sorry. Until one night, I got sick of being sorry, and I said, God, I'm going to quit. And I said, you know what, I'm going to quit for 2 weeks. And if I can quit for 2 weeks, you know, I'll just go back to it, and I'll feel better. I'll get to feeling healthy or whatever. And then I'll go back and I'll start again and use again or whatever. But I felt so good. I went another 2 weeks and a month, and they just kept going and feeling better and better. And I was like, I don't want it anymore, you know?
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing that. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for your service. How long were you in the military?
I was only into less than 2 years. Like, it wasn't a long time. Yeah. And I was in the delayed entry program, and Yeah, I wasn't in there very long, and I spent some time in the mental ward in the army.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they had a mental ward there. I didn't know they had that.
Yeah. All right, give me a quick synopsis of like when you started drinking, and then what influenced you to drink or use drugs, and then until what age this went on
Honestly,
for?
I started drinking because I thought that was the adult thing to do because I saw my parents doing it and I wanted to do it. It looked like they were having fun. And I was a very uptight kid. I was always studying and I was always like a nerd and just felt very anxious all the time and stuff. So I wanted to loosen up and feel like an adult, have fun and dance and have parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I started drinking. I thought it would make me feel better. And then I was my brother, sister, all of them, my family, my cousins. They were all sitting, we all hang out together, you know, because our parents were working all the time. So we would just always be alone with each other and stuff. And so they were smoking weed one time. And I thought, well, actually, I started with cigarettes with Newports. I asked them. They wouldn't let me do it. But nobody pressured me. I wanted to try cigarettes. I tried it. I got addicted. And then I saw them smoking weed. And I said, let me try some weed, you know?
What are you grateful for, Liberty?
Oh, yeah. So I'm grateful for Jesus Christ. I'm grateful that I've been clean and sober for 16 years now, as of December 23rd. That was the day also that my grandma died, and that's the days that I decided that I have to be financially responsible for my family. I have to make money, but the whole point of me becoming a billionaire is to show other people that they can do it too. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm grateful that I'm strong, that all the things that I've gone through, like getting out of a wheelchair. I had no hair. I had cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 8 years ago, I had cancer and I had no hair, and I healed from my trauma because I quit taking mental health medications. Did you know, Raman, did you know that less than 6% of people that are on mental health meds get off of them? That's less than the amount of people that actually successfully get off heroin. Did you know that?
No.
It's true. My social media, you can find me on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/the @I'm worth it Inc. I'm worth it Inc.com on TikTok. And then you can find me on Instagram, I'm Worth It Incorporated, all spelled out. My name is Liberty V Justice. There's no period in my V because my victories never end. And I'm here to help you get your victories, legend, because you're worth it. So,
Liberty, my truck stops right around the corner here, so I'm always in Ontario. How about we do this regularly? Let's check up on you like maybe once every other week or so.
if that's what the people want, if
All
you
right.
want that, give it a big like, thumbs up, leave some comments, say, hey, let's do it again.
All right.
Liberty.
God bless you, Liberty. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
You're
Peace
worth it.
out.